Welcome back to Pokemon Platinum. It's time for our first gym battle here in Platinum. It's Rourke, a rock-type gym leader, is first, so use a special move and you'll whoop his ass.
Man, 3 out of 4 first ones, rock. Okay.
Yeah.
So, one thing about Pokemon Platinum that I'm not a huge fan of is that these games are a lot more grindy than some of the other Pokemon games. Levels in general are a lot higher, and it doesn't...
At certain points. It is a weird spike in levels at points.
There's spikes, I think is the best way to put it. Like, especially right before the Elite Four. You're like a good 10 levels behind where you should be. If you're even... Unless I think if you fight pretty much every trainer along the way. And you should be doing that anyway because you can't transfer up your Gen 3 Pokemon unless if you've seen every single Pokemon in the Sinnoh Dex, which, you know, kind of pissed me. So yeah, so in Gen 4, if you want to get access to the PAL Park, which is the thing that allows you to get your Pokemon from the Gen 3 games up into the Gen 4 games, you have to have seen, not caught, but you have to have at least seen every Pokemon in the Sinnoh regional Dex. Which
if you battle every trainer until the end of the game, you will do.
But like if you skip a couple of trainers here and there, which I feel like most people do, you know, at least when I was younger, I did, you know, or if you just like, even if you're attempting to find all of them, you know, the routes in this game are pretty big. So it's sometimes you just happen to miss one, and if that one had, you know, like the Crobat that you needed to see or whatever, you know, I'm just pulling an example out of my ass, you know, you're just kind of screwed because you either can comb through the game and find the one trainer you missed, or, you know, you can look it up on the internet on the easiest way to get one for yourself, which is probably what you should be doing anyway. But it's unnecessary. Like, yeah. I don't mind having to beat the game in order to transfer Pokemon. That's fine. I don't care about that, but don't add another step on top of that for me to have to do that. That just bothers me intrinsically.
Hi again, Barry. I like Barry. I feel like a lot of people give Barry a bad rap, but he's like the only thing about this game that I kind of like. So,
he's like, for me the big thing is I found him annoying. Is the big thing. And
he's annoying, but at least he has a personality, unlike Brendan and May in Gen 3.
They didn't... You see, I feel like in Gen 3 they just didn't want to have a rival character at all, is the thing. And they put one in there out of obligation, you know? Like, because you fight them 3 times, you never even get to see their final starter form, and then they just disappear for the rest of the game, you know? Like, I feel like the last fight with them is before you even get to the big surfy parts towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
So
it's before the big mall, I believe.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, you just spend the last 10 hours of the game not having any meaningful connection with them. And I guess in Gen 3, Wally kind of fills that void a little bit.
Yeah, I don't like Wally either.
Well, Wally... Wally...
I think the game plays the pity card on him way too much.
I feel like he's undercooked is the big problem, because you only fight him like 3 times too, so there's not really a whole lot of oomph.
They wanted to have this sort of friendship dynamic going on with your rivals, but
and they just keep.
But the graphics are too good. We can't have jerk rivals anymore.
Oh my god! Someone needs to make Masuda stop talking.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
That's Masuda's excuse for why they don't have jerk rivals anymore.
Because they had to.
What?
So in the interview he said it was easier to make the rivals jerks in order to give them personality in the older games, because since they were just sprites, they couldn't emote. So I think what he meant to say is that we don't need to make the rivals jerks anymore because we can show their personality through things other than their text. Which, okay, that's a decent mindset to have, but at the same time, they've also had what feels like essentially the same rival in, like, Gen 4, Gen 6, and Gen 7, and Gen 3, and people don't really like the rivals in any of those games, and people would like to have a rival that, maybe not even just a jerk ass, but to have a little bit more character to it other than that, and they just it makes the reasoning seems.
I think I get what
reasoning seems half-assed.
I think I get what you're saying. Like they want it. One of the things that they did, even when they did have jerk rivals, was that they were trying to have like this sort of wholesome storyline attached to it, where the rival learns a lesson and becomes a better person. And now that we have this, allegedly better presentation values. I mean, I say allegedly because this doesn't look all that much different to me than what we were doing on the Game Boy, but.
Well, this was around like black and white, X and Y sort of stuff.
Yeah. When he said that, basically, yeah.
Yeah, so they wanted to like they could presumably they were trying to portray a more fleshed out friendship, but
unfortunately, when they were nice, the games gave them nowhere to go, so they were just kind of there.
Yeah, they don't
anything.
do the only problem is that
they forgot the character arc.
Yeah, because like Gen 6 I think is the worst example of this because
you have like 6 rivals in that game and they all do nothing.
Like Gen 5 is a weird case because like you've got N, who is a great character, and then I see you you went to bed and started recording the next day. You've got N, who's a great character, who's kind of like a rival, and then you've got Brendan and May, who are a little bit half cooked, but they're both friendly characters.
You mean Bianca and Sharon?
Oh, did I call them Brendan and May? Oh.
Yes.
Ooh, okay, sorry.
Oops.
Okay, so you got Bianca and Sharon. Sorry, Bianca and Sharon. They're both friendly rivals, and they're kind of doing in that game what I think that the mindset behind Masuda's statement there was, where it's just like, okay, they're friendly characters, but they're trying to have a more in-depth personal growth arc, where Bianca's is about like accepting who she is and not needing to deal with her actually abusive father. And then
and Sharon's trying to get over the fact that it's not just battles. There's more to life than having a dream. You can do other stuff. Yeah,
pretty much. But even then though, those characters felt a little bit undercooked because like there wasn't really any metric to kind of gauge their goals by, I guess. Because, like, Bianca has, like, that one act, like, the conversation she has with her dad and the electric gym leader whose name escapes me because this franchise has 50,000 characters in Gen 5.
Oh, God, please don't tell me you have to do that animation every time you want to break a rock.
Yup. Yep.
There's so many rocks here.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to break all of them.
Well, I mean, if you want to find the items that can randomly...
That's what I was afraid of, God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, they keep on doing that to like Gen 7 pretty much. Like that's actually, Gen 2 I think is the fastest one because you can just examine it and then it'll play. There's no like extra animation that goes. It just like disappears or like the animation.
It was like I'd be fine if the animation played on the first rock per room or something. But Aroma Lady? What's an Aroma Lady?
She just uses
a grass
flower.
type train.
Yeah, she just uses flower.
Grass type Pokemon.
How did you know that before she threw out her first Pokemon?
She had like flowers and stuff around her.
Does
also,
she
we
smell?
played this game before.
Is she just wearing way too much perfume? Because that's the only thing that I can think of. That would cause me to mentally ascribe the title.
You see,
Aroma
we
Lady
also
to
we're not really in character supposed to know
Cherries?
their names either, because like in the world of Pokemon, they don't tell you their name before they fight you. They just say, "Hi, I like shorts," and then throw a Pokeball at your face. So my personal headcanon for the Pokemon universe is everybody has a big old name tag on their chest that says their name and their trainer class on it. So yeah, that's what my.
Okay, so this girl is running around the region with a name tag that says protagonist, and everyone sees it and they're like, "Oh, I guess it's time to go to work."
Pretty much, I guess. Yeah.
It'd be interesting if like you came across some actual in-progress trainer battles during your journeys. That would be nice.
You see, that's actually kind of what I felt like the idea for the Ace Trainer class was, at least in the earlier games, because whenever you came across an Ace Trainer, they usually had larger teams. They usually had more spread out teams in terms of type coverage. And if I remember correctly from Gen 1, they also were semi-likely to have one of the starter Pokemon too. So I felt like that was kind of the idea. But, in Gen 4, I think, is one of the last Pokemon games. Gen 4 and Gen 5 were some of the last Pokemon games where they felt like they were able to give standard trainers more than, 2 Pokemon. Because this is something we talked about a lot when we did Sword and Shield, is that,
Sun and Moon.
God, my brain is off today. And more than usual, because I normally say a lot of stuff that I don't mean, but this has been the third time in this one part, damn. But when we were doing Sun and Moon, we were talking about that a lot, where it's just maybe by endgame you had a couple of trainers with 3. But Gen 4, the pacing of the general battles is still generally the same as the games before it, in that the fights will usually be a little bit... They allow the fights by mid and late game to be a little bit longer, which I'm okay with, because, it's not like Pokemon's ever been a really hard franchise, but...
Hi, not Pikachu.
It isn't really what I was talking about. What I was talking about... Oh, yeah, you're right. That is a poor man's Pikachu. What I was talking about... Oh, Pachirisu. Oh, yeah, that's... Oh.
One of the funniest things about this, because this Pokemon is, pretty bad, all things considered. It's a single evolution Pokemon with pretty low stats. There was a Pokemon Championship, I forget what year it was, where somebody led a team with this thing, and they won. And the Pokemon fandom just didn't know what to do with itself, competitively, because they won a major competition with Parisachu, of all things. And then they were like, what is a tier list? We don't know. Is this thing high tier?
That kind of reminds me of what's going on lately with the Smash community, where this one guy is steamrolling everything with Joker, and it's like, what?
I think it's Melee a couple of years ago. Somebody won a whole bunch with Yoshi, and then they were like, okay, Yoshi's high tier now, and it's like,
no.
But apparently this same guy who's steamrolling everything with Joker was doing stuff with Lucina. And
yeah, I thought Lucina was considered good, though.
Yeah, Lucina is very good. Joker's rose in the tier list a lot, mostly because MKLeo just can't be beat right now. At the time of this recording, anyway. This will go up after Evo and stuff, so we'll see.
Also, there's a DLC patch, hopefully coming sometime this week, because I want to play as Hero so goddamn bad. Sorry. I'm sure, by the time this goes up, there'll be a patch or 3. And, Bullet Seed, finally the grass types can do something.
But, what I was actually getting at is, while you're traveling down a route, maybe you could see 2 trainers battling it out with each other, rather than them all just waiting for you to walk into their line of sight, because you're the only trainer worth fighting, I guess.
You see, that's actually why people want the Pokemon MMO so bad, because people kind of want it to feel like other people are also exploring in the world of Pokemon with you.
A Pokemon MMO could be interesting, I suppose, but
I doubt they'll ever do it. I mean, prove me wrong, please, because I feel like
that would be
given a budget and a lot of time to cook, I think it could be excellent. But
yeah, it could be. It really could be.
But it's not. I doubt it, because Game Freak for some reason doesn't seem like they want to give Pokemon a budget, even though it's arguably the most popular media franchise in the world. So, whatever. I won't get too deep into it, because I don't want to have Sword and Shield arguing be every comment.
Here's my question. Why is it that whenever you pick berries from a berry tree, you have to destroy the tree? Are you just that bad at gardening?
So you can use it to compost to build the next tree that you...
Or you could leave the tree there and let it grow more berries. How about that?
You see, that's actually kind of how it worked in Gold, Silver, Crystal, where each tree had a specific type of berry, and then you could only get that berry once a day. Yeah. In Gen 3, they changed it so that you could use the berries you get to plant more trees, and then you could kind of choose what you wanted to grow, basically.
Yeah.
Which is a cool idea, but...
It also meant you were getting half as many berries.
Yeah, and it also meant that... that, you had to have kind of a silly thing where the tree just disappears once you take the berries off of it.
Yeah.
So...
Interesting gameplay mechanic, but I like this Pokemon design. Actually, this Pokemon design looks pretty.
Glameow's fine. I do not like Purugly, its evolution.
No, Purugly is awful.
Which we
Ugh.
will be seeing next
Next part.
part, because that Purugly is also one of the most infamous Pokemon in this goddamn game.
It's one of the biggest walls in this game. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
so
one of the biggest walls in the series. I
So
think. Like, I think
what
it's
you're
up there
saying
with
is
Whitney.
it's the Gen 4 Nose Pass.
Yeah, it's there's a
Nose Pass isn't very hard though.
if you
Well,
pick-
if you chose Torchic, it is, but
yeah, but it's definitely harder than Roxane's definitely harder than Brock is. Though.
that's not hard though.
Oh, Brock was decently hard when you were a kid, and you were still getting used to it. Like,
well, the only thing is that it's scary going into it. In Gen 1, I should say, it's
Well-
scary going into it because he's Rock type. He actually does not know any Rock type moves in Gen 1.
yeah, but here's the thing about Brock in Gen 1. If you didn't pick the plant starter, or... Well, wait,
Or
which...
Squirtle.
a
Charmander.
Squirtle or the plant starter would do you good, but if you were like most kids and thought the Fire Dragon was the cool one, and you wanted to start with the Fire Dragon, you would have to go out of your way to catch a Mankey to have anything that was strong against Rock. And
Oh no, Butterfree works well too because he doesn't know any
Yeah,
rock moves,
sort of.
so you could just confuse him. To
sort
death.
of, but Butterfree, like, you have to grind through Metapod to get Butterfree, so it's like at that point,
Only the level
just,
10. It's not that bad.
It's boring because Metapod can't fucking do anything. The beginning of that game was so slow.